We have some ABC News. The Trump trial. David Pecker describes secret catch-and-kill arrangement for 2016 election. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The big news here is that Donald Trump, get this is going to shock all of you, was trying to make himself look good while running for president so that he could win.
It's disgusting.
How dare he?
I can't believe
How
it.
dare he?
You think I'm joking, but this is the Trump trial core argument that Donald Trump, his lawyers, his personnel before, during, and after the election had been buying negative stories and shutting them down.
No political
It's not
candidate
illegal.
ever would do this.
Yeah,
Definitely not the Clintons or
that's
Joe
never
Biden.
happened. That's not what happened with Hunter.
It's not illegal. If someone has a claim and they're like, I'm going to sell the rights to my story,
Right,
and you buy them and then just don't publish a story, it's completely legal. They're arguing that the secondary crime in the Trump trial. So let's slow down. Trump pays. They argue Trump pays Stormy Daniels $130,000 to keep quiet about an alleged affair, which apparently never happened, and now she owes him money or something.
She lost the suit.
Right, so she owes him like $300,000.
Yeah.
And then in New York, they're arguing that Trump can falsified business records to cover up his election interference by suppressing negative information to win an election. I just want to stress, every single politician in the history of this country, and probably any elected representative of any kind in any country, has done that. Well, there is no historical circumstance where a politician did not attempt to stop bad information about them from getting out.
Well, hold on a second. I know that we all want to defend Trump here, but let me read you some quotes that came from Trump and people in his administration. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated resistance from CEOs. Their work touched every aspect of the election. They got states to change voting system and laws. There was a pact that was formalized. No, I'm sorry. That was Time Magazine talking about how they interfered in the election in order to get Joe Biden elected. They literally came out and admitted that corporate America, big business, and people working from within the legal system got together in order to do everything they could to ensure that Joe Biden won. Then on top of that, we had former intelligence officials coming out to lie about and suppress a story that was true. You had large social media companies banning that story and networks saying that they wouldn't report on it because it could hurt Joe Biden. And they're sitting here and saying that somebody who Donald Trump was working with not publishing a story is election interference?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to hit that if you don't mind. So
real quick, just one point.
Yeah.
There's not even any proof that Trump actually paid Stormy Daniels.
No, of course. So, what about those Congress members who had that slush fund paying off those who they sexually harassed? Is that election interference too? Mm-hmm. Because, they want to make themselves look good and be reelected. Is that interference? I don't know.
And the charge that Trump is facing in New York is a misdemeanor unless it's done while doing another crime, which you don't have to be charged with. They just do whatever they can to give him the biggest punch that they can muster, and this is what Alvin Bragg has come up with. It's interesting to me that no matter what happened, like when this trial started or when everything kind of kicked off yesterday, the fact that we're talking about something that happened in 2016, like they will do anything to try and throw mud on Trump right now.
Well, I wanted to touch base on the 51 intelligence officers, some of those guys I know, who came out and said it was fake. I am a last time I checked,
the laptop story.
Yeah, the laptop story. I actually had a copy of the laptop, had access to it. I was actually helping a certain reporter that I mentioned off air. I don't want to mention her name to get her in trouble, but I was trying to make sure she got certain copies of it. And so when I was trying to go public and say, this looks authentic to me and I'm an intelligence officer with 30 years, nobody in the media would pick it up. Nobody would pick it up. Nobody would listen, even though I'm,
Well, hold on. I mean, let me just get this straight. You're saying that as a former intelligence officer, you went to assets of the intelligence agencies and they didn't listen to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised that...
So we actually were in a room like this, and I brought in a 3-letter agency, and they wanted to take a copy. And their leadership said, no, we don't want a copy, because you know why we were concerned? I'll just say it. We believed, looking at the Hunter Biden hard drive, we would be able to determine a foreign intelligence services techniques to recruit people. They have certain things that they do, I guess the term is honeypotting.
Yep.
Honeypot.
Yep.
So we figured by analyzing that, this 3-letter agency asked me to help them out. Oh no, the 51 intelligence officers, they say it's not real, so we can't look at it. That's how damaging this whole information campaign was. The legitimate issues that should have been looked at by intelligence professionals were ignored because, well, these guys have come out and said it's not real, so it's not real.
Well, and there was even a survey done not long after the election when the story actually did start to get out there, where they found that it was something like 10% of people who voted for Joe Biden would not have if they
like
had
6
been
or 7.
aware. Yeah.
Rasmussen ran a poll and they found like 6 or 7% said had they been aware of the laptop story, they would have actually they would have not voted for Biden, and Trump would have won.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, it's kind of obvious why they suppressed the laptop story.
Yeah, exactly.
The president's son is he's not a good guy.
No. But
I'm being nice.
The media acknowledging that they literally ran what they referred to as a shadow campaign to generate the result they wanted in the election. Elon Musk purchasing Twitter and then releasing communications that were going on behind the scenes, which showed us that those who run the digital public square were literally running defense to suppress a true story to help somebody get elected, are stories that didn't result in a single person having to stand trial for any kind of election interference, even though we know intelligence assets lied. They lied. But Donald Trump's on trial. Donald Trump is on trial.
I invested one of the instances of the ballot fraud. I actually investigated a guy named Jesse Morgan. The thing is on there. And we found that they had moved in October of 2020 650,000 curated ballots. That was the conclusion of my investigation. And we were ready to take this to Bill Barr. I sent a note to him and said, hey, we want to go talk to you and brief you through Ed Meese. And guess who called me and got me fired from the project? Bill Barr. Bill Barr called me and demanded we turn over the witness, Jesse Morgan. This is all on the internet. And next thing you know, it's gone. The FBI took it and buried it all. So I'm just saying that there are credible elements that happened either, that show that there was active efforts to suppress any evidence of the fact that the election was completely...
Amen. I want to show this tweet from Alex Berenson.
Yeah.
He said, so Trump supposedly engaged in a conspiracy to win an election, but he's not charged for the $130,000 Cohen paid Daniels in 2016. He's charged for misclassifying the repayments he made to Cohen in 2017, by which time he'd already won. Could this case be a bigger joke?
Exactly.
Berenson also tweeted out, maybe I can actually pull this up, something to the effect of, why is Donald Trump actually, here's what he said. If I were Trump, I would seriously consider refusing to participate in the New York versus Trump and letting them jail me. I know that sort of protest has never been his style. He has always made the courts work for him. But the case here is so fundamentally corrupt, it might be his best move. I agree.
Look at how
much...
They
wouldn't do it.
And you look at how much Donald Trump has been investigated, and this is what they're trying to throw at him. Look at how much the goalpost has moved since 2016. First, Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. They stole this election. You had something like 60, or I was between 40 and 60% of Democrats, according to a YouGov poll, said that they believed Russia literally hacked voting machines because of how much the media was running with this Russiagate narrative. Then they go, okay, so we don't have proof that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, but, we think he might have been involved, and there is an investigation, and it's like, okay, well, we have no proof he was involved, but there was no bias in the investigation, and it's like, okay, well, we did find there was bias in the investigation, but it wasn't a coup or anything like that, and now he tried to interfere in the election by running a campaign.
Can I just stress?
That
You know what?
crazy
You know what's
man.
crazy? The voters also interfered in that election.
By voting.
Yeah.
But I want to stress this to everybody listening at home. The trial in New York, for which Trump is currently attending, is a 2016 election case.
Yeah.
They have brought us back 8 years to relitigate now for what, the third or fourth time, the 2016 election, because these psychotic election deniers like Hillary Clinton and now Bragg cannot accept they lost. The argument now is Trump interfered in the election. That's how he won.
American tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, the thing is, with all of this, is the American public aware enough of the inconsistencies in what they're saying and the bias, the impact of the Twitter files to say, hey, what Trump did is actually being misconstrued and we're being tricked.
But that's the thing, is people should start thinking for themselves. I mean, I try to monitor everything so it can, but to your point, Tim, I don't think they're going to jail him. I think Trump should do it, go on like the Kobayashi Maru, but they won't, because you know what they'll do? They'll build his numbers up even higher. They try to jail him. They get the headlines.
Didn't he see
everyday
a
people
spike after his mugshot came out?
Yes, exactly.
Today they had a hearing. Bragg wants, what does he want, like $100,000 or something?
Close to that.
Something like that for contempt.
Right.
But the judge is not going to rule on it. And one of the articles I was reading, the journalists, some Democrats, talking to a journalist, I don't know the sources on this one, they actually believe Trump is trying to get jailed.
Yeah.
But he has to do it in a way to where he doesn't intentionally provoke it. So if Trump comes out and says, screw you, F you, judge, how dare you? What the idea is that Trump is trying to avoid taking the action which results in him getting jailed strongly. So let me try and break this down. Trump defying the court and saying, I will leave, and them going, you'll be jailed. And he says, so what? Trump is avoiding that. What Trump wants is some kind of plausible deniability. Well, so they're insulting me on TV. They're insulting me on social media. I responded to that, and they jailed me for it. Trump wants them to be in the most unreasonable position.
Right.
And I don't know if Trump actually wants to get jailed, but they believe he does. And I think that's why the judge probably refrained from ruling on the contempt, because he's like, the only thing you can do is put Trump in jail. And that's really, really bad for Democrats. I don't know if it's going to be ultimately good for Trump, but it may be that Trump is trying to nudge them into actually putting him in jail.
Considering how the whole case has gone so far, if they just throw Trump in jail for contempt or whatever, I don't see how that could possibly be a win for Democrats or for the court. They're already generally I think the average person kind of looks at the situation in New York as like, this case doesn't really hold water, and I think if they were to throw him in jail, I think that would do wonders for Trump's numbers.
It was always considered the weakest of the cases that's being brought against him, and I think you're right. If this is the one that they sent to jail on, everyone's going to look at it and be like, New York, stop, Alvin Bragg, pull it together. You're making the rest of us look bad.
They leaked a story today about the Secret Service considering how they would protect the president if he goes to jail. So.
But isn't that their job to
consider
every single variable there is?
But
that doesn't seem crazy to me.
It's interesting that they highlighted that, because I think to Tim's point, I think Trump is playing with fire, and I think if he plays it right, this will help improve his numbers again, because it'll overplay their hand.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think Trump should not have gone. I think he should have chilled in Florida and publicly stated they have issued a secondary charge with no underlying crime. I'm confused by this. My lawyers are confused by this. If they can present a actual criminal charge for which they have the secondary charge attached, we will respond. But in the meantime, we are shocked and confused and don't know what to do, so we are going to do nothing. The issue here is that the charge against Trump is falsifying business records in furtherance of a crime. But the furtherance of a crime doesn't exist. So there's no charge. Plus, there's a statute of limitations which expired. So what is this?
Tim, those are internal business records, too. They weren't even used externally. Those are internal records within the company. So there's no possibility of fraud since they weren't presented to someone else as fraud.
Yeah, it's a fake case.
It's a completely fake case.
So why would the way I've described this repeatedly is a group of clowns showed up to Trump's house with a clown warrant and said the clowns want you to go to clown jail. And Trump went, okay, I guess.
That's kind of true.
It's not real.
Clowns.
So look, the way I view it is this charge against Trump is not in statutory law. A DA can't be like, well, we don't actually have a crime on the books, but I'm going to charge Seamus with, I don't know, stealing a statue of a frog from his aunt's house.
Come on, man.
And, well, you know what, Seamus, I'm charging you with making a cartoon that incites hatred and violence, because your cartoons, I interpret as such. There's no law banning it, and there's a First Amendment, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to charge you for it anyway.
Guilty.
And then you decide to be like, okay, I guess I'll show up in court.
Show up to court for
Look,
that.
I got to be honest. If there were charges announced against me that didn't exist in law, I'd be like, huh? Mm-hmm. And I'd just be like, okay, I guess. But if we're at the point, a lot of people have responded to my point about this, saying, what should have Trump done? What should Trump have done? Should he have just waited and gone to jail? You're talking about clowns, but those clowns are armed. And I'm like, dude, if you're suggesting that a rogue state of this country has already taken extrajudicial actions against Donald Trump, they're acting outside of the law and threatening him with violence and imprisonment, then The move has already been made.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump refuses to attend this trial, it is not Trump doing anything. They already did it. So it's funny because I don't think people understand how late the hour is, okay? There's the joke, oh, you guys ready to take a drink? Civil war, right? We talk about these issues. Can I just stress the state of New York has filed a functionally non-existent criminal charge against Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. They are attempting to put him in prison, to jail and incarcerate him. I got news for you. If you, without legal authority, take a person against their will and lock them up, that's called kidnapping.
Yeah.
And with a threat of violence, there can be aggravated assault and all of that stuff attached to it. What we're witnessing right now in New York is organized crime, not governance. It's not the law. And so let me just keep it simple for you. To the people who laugh at the idea that things are getting crazy in this country, the state of New York, the district in Manhattan, the DA there, have just declared they will, without the backing of any legislation or any law, lock Trump up. Okay, guys, that's no different than a nonprofit organization getting a private security company to go to Trump's house and locking him in a cage. Mm-hmm. There's no law backing this. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.